You know
unless
what
somebody.
people told me? People told me you and Youngboy was beefing or something like that.
I know
You
they
said
be
something
saying
about
that a lot.
what happened, Von? What's going on with you, man?
They be saying that a lot. It's like we got the same interests.
In the world of hip-hop, few forces were as formidable as King Von, the notorious figure of O-Block. From striking fear into Kondo Rondo to influencing NLE Choppa's own confessions about street behavior, King Von's reputation echoed louder than most. His presence made even the heaviest names in rap tread carefully. Here are some of the rap legends who deeply feared King Von, starting with FBG Duck.
Man, oh, Duck lied, man. Ain't nothing kick with him, man. He lying.
The Chicago rap scene, known for its raw and unfiltered storytelling, produced some of the most influential artists in hip-hop history. Among them stood FBG Duck and King Von, two rappers whose lives and careers were inseparably tied to the city's intense gang culture. FBG Duck, born Carlton Weekly, rose from the South Side's turbulent streets, aligning himself with the gangster disciples. His music, defined by its gritty realism and emotional narratives, resonated deeply with listeners who lived similar struggles. Duck's breakout hit Slide launched him into the national spotlight, gaining him a devoted following across multiple regions.
In my head, I'm like, why somebody with my little brother, you feel me? It's like, that's what's really going through my head at the moment when it first popped up.
On the opposing side was King Von, born Davin Daquan Bennett, a charismatic figure from the Black Disciples. Von's storytelling abilities and vivid portrayals of street life quickly captured attention within the rap world. His debut album, Welcome to O-Block, firmly established him among the elite voices in hip-hop. However, beneath their musical triumphs simmered a deep-rooted tension fueled by the ongoing feud between their respective gangs. Personal grievances, diss tracks, and retaliatory violence added gasoline to an already blazing fire, setting the stage for a deadly rivalry that would change the Chicago scene forever.
Then when we found out she was claiming that what we do? Beat your ass on the bus on Tuga.
As the rivalry between FBG Duck and King Von escalated, the streets of Chicago morphed into a war zone, reflecting the intensity of their ongoing feud. Diss tracks flew back and forth, each more provocative than the last, with both artists using music as a weapon to taunt and challenge one another's street authority. By summer 2020, tensions had reached an explosive peak. Rumors of a possible hit targeting FBG Duck began to circulate heavily. The conflict, once limited to records and online exchanges, was now inching dangerously close to real-world consequences. Both artists were thriving in their careers, building national buzz and expanding their fan bases far beyond Chicago. Yet beneath all the success, a deadly power struggle was quietly unfolding. According to newly declassified federal documents, a confidential informant provided pivotal information central to an ongoing investigation. This source alleged that King Von had initially placed a $50,000 bounty on FBG Duck's head. The claims alone were alarming, but what followed would heighten tensions even further. The informant stated that Von, frustrated by the lack of progress, doubled the offer to $100,000, a figure that transformed the feud into something far more dangerous.
So you was in jail for 2 murders?
Yeah, 1 murder and 2 attempts. I just beat.
How you beat that?
What you mean I
You didn't do it.
The same informant detailed that Von later rewarded those who executed the hit. Allegedly, custom O-Block chains were gifted to those involved, chains that symbolized more than just loyalty. They were physical trophies of a deadly mission, meant to signal status, allegiance, and the extent to which Von would go to enforce his will. On August 4th, 2020, that deadly prophecy came true. FBG Duck was gunned down in broad daylight in Chicago's upscale Gold Coast neighborhood in an attack that sent shockwaves across the music world. The assault lasted just 12 seconds. In that short span, 38 rounds were fired, 16 of which struck Duck. His death became a grim milestone in the ongoing clash between street credibility and mainstream fame. Allegations immediately followed. Reports claimed that King Von had ordered the $100,000 hit, adding even more heat to a rivalry already boiling over. FBG Duck's mother, known as Mama Duck, spoke out publicly. Her statements expressed deep fear and pointed toward Von's possible involvement. To inspire fear in a mother who knew the streets firsthand speaks volumes. That was the level of dominance and influence King Von held within the scene.
Well, you pull out and you shoot 4 times.
Yeah, the gun jammed.
Oh, the gun jammed?
Yeah.
After the 4th shot?
Probably like third.
Following this was the emergence of Lil Durk in the story, Von's closest ally and longtime collaborator. Their relationship was more than musical. It was forged in the harsh reality of O-Block. Lil Durk and King Von's bond traces back to the unforgiving streets of Southside Chicago. Both were born and raised in the notorious Parkway Gardens housing development, known in pop culture as O-Block, a place that has given birth to a generation of drill rappers whose music mirrors their lived experiences. They weren't just label mates, they were brothers in arms, united by hardship, loyalty, and a mission to translate pain into platinum records. Together, they carried the sound of Chicago's drill scene to the national spotlight while simultaneously navigating its dangerous origins. During the tense probable cause hearing, prosecutors laid out their case. The defense countered with a self-defense argument, claiming Witherspoon had a firearm. Both men maintained their innocence, and the charges were ultimately dropped in 2022 due to lack of conclusive evidence and witness inconsistencies. Up next is a name that always surfaces when King Von is mentioned, the man connected to his tragic death, Quando Rondo. The hip-hop scene in the 2010s was fiercely competitive and unforgiving. You either got pushed to the side or you rose to the top. Among those climbing the ranks were King Von and Quando Rondo, 2 rappers whose paths would tragically collide. In Savannah, Georgia, Tiquian Terrell Bowman, known professionally as Quando Rondo, was forging his own path in music. Raised in a city with its own set of challenges, Quando found a voice through his art, using music to express the weight of his environment and personal battles. Quando Rondo's rise to fame was marked by a series of successful releases, including his debut mixtape that caught national attention. However, as their stars continued to rise, so too did the tensions that would ultimately lead to their fateful encounter. The events leading up to November 6, 2020, were shaped by a complex web of rivalries and shifting alliances within the hip-hop community. King Von's close association with Lil Durk and the Only the Family label positioned him as a central figure in Chicago's rap scene, while Quando Rondo's network in Georgia and other regions solidified his rising presence across the industry. As their paths began to intersect more frequently, the potential for conflict grew more imminent, fueled not only by the competitive nature of the music business, but also by the deeply personal dynamics at play behind the scenes. On the night of November 6th, the long simmering tensions between King Von and Quando Rondo erupted into real-world violence outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. What transpired that night would leave an indelible mark on hip-hop, forever altering the trajectory of multiple lives and igniting a conversation about the consequences of unchecked rivalries within the industry. As the clock ticked past midnight, the atmosphere outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge was electric. The venue, a popular nightlife hotspot in Atlanta, was alive with activity, drawing crowds of partygoers and fans eager for celebration. Among them was King Von and his entourage, arriving in high spirits to celebrate the release of his latest project. Unbeknownst to them, the night was about to take a devastating turn that would send shockwaves throughout the music world. Quando Rondo, also in Atlanta that evening, found himself nearby in a vulnerable position. According to reports, he was asleep in his car outside the lounge, unaware of the imminent storm brewing just yards away. As the night unfolded, tensions between the two camps began to escalate, driven by a history of online spats, neighborhood affiliations, and perceived disrespect. The stage was set for a confrontation, and it was only a matter of time before things escalated. The conflict began when members of King Von's crew reportedly approached Quando Rondo's vehicle, sparking a heated verbal exchange. Accounts of what happened next differ, but most agree that King Von acted as the aggressor, engaging Quando in a physical confrontation that offered little room for de-escalation. What followed was chaos. Punches were thrown, bodies clashed, and confusion erupted in the packed parking lot. In the midst of this turmoil, Timothy Lil Tim Leaks, a close associate of Quando Rondo, made a split-second decision that changed everything. In what was later described as an act of self-defense, Lil Tim pulled a firearm and fired, striking King Von with fatal shots. The sound of gunfire shattered the air, sending panicked crowds scrambling and leaving a scene of devastation behind. The incident ended King Von's life and ignited immediate fallout. Fear and adrenaline collided, leading to a violent encounter that left the hip-hop community reeling with shock and devastation. Timothy Lil Tim Leaks, born in Savannah, Georgia, was a rising figure in the rap scene, closely affiliated with fellow Southern artist Quando Rondo. His life, however, was already marked by legal issues and entanglements with crime. In August 2020, law enforcement discovered a cache of firearms and 15 pounds of marijuana in Lil Tim's possession. These findings resulted in multiple charges, including conspiracy to violate the Georgia Controlled Substance Act, theft by receiving stolen property, and obstruction. These charges painted a picture of a young man struggling to reconcile musical ambition with the dangerous realities surrounding him. Lil Tim and King Von were not allies, but adversaries, driven further apart by their respective affiliations. Tim's connection to Quando Rondo, who had a tense relationship with King Von, only deepened the divide. The rivalry between these camps simmered quietly until that explosive night in Atlanta. On November 6, 2020, the Monaco Hookah Lounge became the flashpoint. It was a bustling nightlife destination where two rival groups unknowingly converged. As the night wore on, tension grew thick. Lil Tim, alongside Quando Rondo and their entourage, unknowingly found themselves in the same area as King Von and his crew. TMZ reported that prior to the altercation, Quando was reportedly asleep inside a vehicle near the club. He awoke to discover Von's crew approaching aggressively. Surveillance footage later confirmed King Von threw the first punches, confronting Quando directly. The altercation quickly escalated beyond control. In the chaos, gunfire erupted, piercing the night and triggering panic among the crowd. The situation turned deadly within seconds. It was during this confusion and fear that tragedy struck. King Von was hit by gunfire, falling to the pavement, mortally wounded. Witnesses stood in shock, many unable to process the rapid escalation from confrontation to fatal violence. As the dust began to settle, the magnitude of the incident became undeniable. In addition to King Von, 5 other individuals sustained gunshot wounds during the altercation. Lil Tim was among those injured and was immediately identified as a central figure in the deadly exchange. Emergency services quickly arrived on the scene, providing aid to the wounded and initiating a full-scale investigation. In the days that followed, police worked to piece together the sequence of events that had led to such a high-profile loss. The hip-hop world was left stunned, grappling with yet another reminder of how real-life rivalries continue to spill into the music world with deadly consequences. As King Von's name circulated in headlines, another rising figure was gaining attention: NBA Youngboy. Born Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden, NBA Youngboy emerged from the gritty streets of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with a raw, unfiltered style that quickly resonated across the industry. His music was both aggressive and emotional, drawing on personal struggles and a turbulent upbringing. By his late teens, Youngboy had already built an impressive discography, releasing a string of mixtapes that cemented his reputation as one of hip-hop's most prolific young talents. With millions of views and a rapidly growing fan base, YoungBoy became known for his intense delivery and gritty lyricism. As both NBA YoungBoy and King Von rose to prominence, whispers of tension between their camps began to surface, setting the stage for yet another chapter in the growing list of rivalries within modern hip-hop. These collaborations not only strengthened their bond, but also solidified their status as key figures in the evolving Chicago rap scene. Yet beneath the surface of their partnership lay a dynamic that was complex and often misunderstood. While Lil Reese was long known for his fearless persona and influence, King Von's enigmatic presence and rapidly growing stature brought a shift in the balance. This subtle tension, shaped by their shared history and individual ambitions, became a key element in the broader narrative of their relationship. Despite their camaraderie and mutual respect, the industry shift created moments of uncertainty. King Von's rapid rise and expanding fan base introduced a new layer of competition that may have challenged Reese's long-held position. As Von gained national recognition, the shifting dynamics between the two became more evident, contributing to a perception that Reese, while still respected, may have felt the weight of Von's momentum. Still, their bond remained intact. Up until King Von's tragic passing, the two maintained their closeness. In the aftermath, Reese revealed that he first heard about Von's death from his girlfriend, and the news deeply saddened him. King Von was a figure who evoked intense emotion. He was respected and feared by fans, peers, and even rivals. This duality in how he was viewed continues to fuel his legacy, keeping his name present in conversations even years after his passing. Whether praised for his music or remembered for his fearsome street presence, one thing is certain: King Von's influence has not faded. His story, marked by triumph, controversy, and tragedy, remains one of the most impactful in recent rap history. If you found this breakdown insightful, be sure to explore the rest of our videos on the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.